Hello everyone and welcome back to Rule of Warships, and today we're going to take a look at the Acasta, the Tier 5 British destroyer, the Tech Tree destroyer. So, it looks like we have a fully Tier 5 battle with 5 destroyers per team, 5 battleships per team, and 2 cruisers per team. So, it's actually kind of the best case scenario. We're top tier, there's lots of battleships to nuke, there's only 2 cruisers, but the one thing we got to be careful of is the destroyers. There's a lot of destroyers. But if we can somehow get rid of the destroyers, we will be in a much better location. So actually, this battle I played it a while ago. I played and I had like 2 days where I was just getting crazy battles. So I don't really remember what happens in this battle, to be honest. But I guess that'll be interesting, right? So it looks like I chose to go down to the D cap, which is good. What are the main things about the Acasta? And do I like it or not? Well, it's actually a very slow destroyer. It caps its top speed at like 34 knots, which at tier 5, that's a pretty slow destroyer. Um, the one benefit though is it does not take long to get up to that top speed from a stop. When you're stopped, you rocket ship up to that top speed. And that goes very well with your special consumable, and that being your short duration smoke screens. Your smoke screen, you get 6 consumables, but they only last like 34, 35 seconds, so you can't just sit there forever. But it's kind of a benefit, right? Because you can use the smoke screens as a get out of jail free card. Like if you get yourself in a bad situation, just pop your smoke, run away, and you're good. So it's actually pretty nice. But also, sitting inside of a smoke screen when there's this many destroyers, you're gonna run the high risk of getting torpedoed unless you're a little bit careful of it, right? So, in a way, it's kind of a blessing because it kind of forces you to not be overly aggressive. But yeah, all right, we fired some torpedoes in at the smoke screen. I don't know if we're gonna hit. Oh, but we do hit. Well, isn't that just lovely? Well, hello there, Minikaze. That's why you don't sit inside smoke screens, broadside on, and do nothing about it. Oh boy. Well, first blood, devastating strike. Not a bad start to this battle, right? We've already gotten rid of one of their destroyers. Now, the torpedoes are interesting because unlike your other destroyers, you can individually launch your torpedoes, which is pretty interesting. Generally speaking, I won't do this because for a couple reasons. One, it's faster just to fire them all off at once. But secondly, I kind of like to have that wider spread if I'm not positive if I'm going to hit or not. But in those cases where you have a ship coming towards you and you are pretty confident that those torpedoes are going to hit, or if you want to choose a specific spread to fire them. See, another benefit by individually launching them is you don't get that gap in between torpedoes. Oh, well, we just had another idiot destroyer that was sitting inside of a smoke screen, so I guess people haven't learned that yet. But anyway, um, normally when you fire your torpedoes, they have a spread. So if the target's farther away, it's not always a good thing to fire off all 4 like that. In a single set because the gap that's created between the torpedoes means that it's very easy to dodge them sometimes if people are prepared for it. But at the same time, it's faster just to fire off the 4. And if you're doing individually, you have to hit that mouse button 8 times, right? Because there's 8 torpedoes. So if they see the first torpedo and they dodge the first torpedo, it gives them more time to dodge the follow-up torpedoes, right? So yeah, unless you fire them very quickly. So I don't really find the individual launch to be that useful most of the time, but it is an interesting little feature that can be useful in the right situation. As far as the guns are concerned, the guns feel adequate, I'd say. It's not a crazy amount, but you're not like a Japanese destroyer where your guns just take forever to reload. They're consistent. They do what they need to do. And yeah, the torpedoes do hit pretty hard. But as you can see, it's pretty hard to stealth fire torpedoes, right? You have to be in a very specific situation in order to stealth fire. We got an Iron Duke. I didn't really want to be spotted there. I didn't really want to get shot from him. So we're going to fire up a smoke screen, and look at that. I don't want to stay in the smoke screen. It's only a 39-second. I want to get further away from that Iron Duke. I want to get away from a crossfire. Knowing me, I almost hit an island, though, because those stupid islands, they're always getting in the way, right? So, but thankfully I saw it with that indicator, and we avoid the island. We do manage to escape with only 1,000 health lost. I mean, I would have preferred not to lose any health, obviously, but, you know, that's where the short duration smoke screen comes in very, very, very useful, right? Because I could fire up that smoke screen and use it as a get out of jail free card to put some distance between us, between me and the enemies, without feeling like I just lost out on a pretty useful smoke screen, right? Because if you only get 3 charges of smoke screen, you're using 30% of your smoke screens to escape. You know, it's not always the greatest thing. You're like, oh, do I really need to use a smoke screen right here, or can I just get away with running away? In the Acasta, you don't really have to worry about that. You get yourself in a bad situation, fire up a smoke screen, you're not out much, right? We're going to do some individual launches. I'm going to kind of do it around the indicator and just kind of hope I get some hits. I want to keep them very close to that ship, though, because if he's going to come towards me, that's where individual launching torpedoes is actually pretty useful. Because if a ship is coming right towards you, and you have 4 torpedoes in your torpedo tube, and you fire it, it'll fire 2 off to the left of the ship and 2 off to the right of the ship. And so if a ship is sailing right at you, they can sometimes just slip in between those torpedoes. But if you have individual launch torpedoes, those torpedoes look pretty good, but they ran out of fuse. So I kind of miscalculated it. I thought he was going a little bit faster, so I thought he'd get inside range before they ran out of fuse. I miscalculated that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. If the ship is coming right towards you, your individual launch torpedoes avoid that error, that annoyance that your torpedoes will spread out and allow the battleship to just kind of sail right in between them, because that gets very annoying very quickly. So you don't have to deal with that problem. So the ship has its utility, it has its benefits, it has its uses. Is it the best destroyer in the world? I'd argue no. I much prefer the Visby or the Jaguar, to be honest. I like those destroyers a lot. I actually liked the Japanese destroyers a lot too. Yeah, their guns don't reload very quickly, but they do hit pretty hard. You know, you just have to be careful with when you use your guns. You really can't use them against other battleships or any cruisers, but against other destroyers, your Japanese guns are pretty decent. Obviously, you don't want to go full on against a destroyer that's full health when you're in a Japanese ship. But if the enemy ship has a reduced amount of health, you could get away with it. I enjoyed the torpedoes, because the torpedoes, a lot of people just kind of forget about torpedoes at this tier, or don't really know the intricacies of them. So you can kind of get away with firing torpedoes, and even though they are slow, you'll still get hits, and when they hit, they do substantial damage. The Nicholas, I know everyone loves it because the guns are consistent and the torpedoes hit hard, but the torpedoes have such short range, you know? It's not as bad as the Podviolski, but good gracious, like, you have a long smoke screen, so you can lay out your smoke screen and then hope the enemy ships come towards you into that torpedo range, which I do, or use islands to get between people. So people that are very skilled with destroyers, I see them do very well with a Nicholas very, very frequently. So, I mean, there is that, but I'm not a big fan of the Nicholas, to be honest. Um, I do like the Acasta, which, I don't know. I'm probably a little bit crazy here. So anyway, back to this battle. We are definitely behind. Their destroyers are going crazy on us. I wanted to try to look for opportunities to take them out, but I just haven't seen them. I kind of gave up on that south flank. The enemy team was just pushing too hard. I wasn't getting opportunities to fire torpedoes. They knew of my existence. They were aware of torpedoes, and I wasn't getting the ambush that I needed. Saw this Nicholas coming over. I want to support the rest of the team. I want to support what little team I have left, right? So I'm going to try to help our battleships take care of this destroyer so that way they don't die. But actually, it worked out a little bit. I think I spotted the torpedoes for our battleship and gave him a little bit of early warning, but I'm not positive. In either case, I'm helping this battleship deal with this destroyer, but it doesn't matter. The Nicholas has 2 sets of torpedoes. He got his other set off, and I'm pretty sure that Koenig is going to die now. Yep. Bye-bye, Koenig. If I could kill that Nicholas just a little bit earlier, that Koenig would have lived. Alright, this is starting to look very, very, very grim for us. We have 2 kills, but we are outnumbered more than 2 to 1. The likelihood of us winning, we are down on caps. This situation is not looking very good. I have 3 battleships left. That one in the south is completely on his own. There's nothing I can do to save him. Although, he does get a kill. I think the New York is down there. I don't remember which one is up here. But yeah, he did get a kill, so I guess. Now we are exactly 2 to 1. Is it possible to win this? Yes. Is it likely that we are going to win this? No. Right? So that's where the whole win rate thing comes in, right? So these situations, if I did nothing, it's a guaranteed loss. There's no way on earth this team would have won if I was not in this battle. But if I can win this, and I win a battle that technically speaking should have been a loss, well then it's going to help my win rate, right? And the more of these type of battles that you can carry, the more lopsided battles that you can actually make into wins and make good plays, the better your win rate is going to be. And that is what shows skill. So that's why win rate is a show of skill. Because yes, there are battles where it's completely unwinnable, no matter what you do. But in these battles, if I did nothing, there's a 0% chance we would have won. If I do something, there is a chance that we will win. But I'm going to have to carry very, very, very hard, right? I'm going to have to work very hard with my team. Is it going to be a win? Is it going to be a loss? I don't know. Guess we're going to have to find out, right? I actually do remember how this battle ends now, so yay. I just had forgotten about it in the beginning. So there, I fired individually because I really didn't think he was going to turn at all, but my bad, he did turn, JK. So all of my torpedoes missed. So if I had fired them spread out, would I have gotten hits? No, I don't think so. He noticed them and turned into them, so there would have been a gap in there, and he probably still would have gone in between it. I kind of had to fire individual, but I should have spread them out a little bit more, because he was able to dodge them, but I don't know. I don't think I would have gotten many torpedo hits at all anyway. This New York is not an idiot. He's not an idiot. But I don't want to just play cats and mouse, right? I want to get in there. I want to take him out because we are severely outnumbered. The only way I'm going to win this is if I bring the numbers back a little bit. So we're going to charge him. Our torpedoes are up and ready and loaded. I'm going to fire at his turrets. Maybe I can knock out his turrets so he can't fire at me, right? And we're going to get right up in his face. He's going to hit me hard. I know it. But we're going to fire torpedoes. We're going to hope that we're going to hit him. I've shown broadside, so this is not ideal. Yeah, we're going to take massive... Oh, he had AP loaded. I don't know why he didn't have HE loaded, but, you know, I'll take it. And, yeah, you're not surviving that, buddy. Goodbye. So, I still have 4 torpedoes left because I only used up one of my torpedo tubes. I needed all 4 of those torpedoes to hit, though. So, there's that. 52,800 damage. Could I have potentially done more stuff in the beginning? Maybe. But the flank that I was on, the best I could have done is just fire torpedoes and kind of hope for the best. I wasn't seeing opportunities to attack destroyers. I wasn't really seeing opportunities to hit torpedoes. I wasn't being very effective at the south. But that's the flank that I chose to be on, and that's why I didn't make as big of an impact in the beginning of the game. If I had a greater impact in the beginning of the game, maybe I'd be able to do more and make it easier on myself at this point. But that just wasn't able to happen. So at this point, I'm just going to have to do the best that I can with the choices that I made earlier. And we're going to have to try to win this. Jaguar is almost dead. He's top priority. Kill him. Because he has deadly guns as well, which is actually pretty useful. Because if I kill the Jaguar, his good guns are gone. Now the Matsuki, I have the firepower advantage. He has the health advantage. This is an even fight. He does a lot of damage to me, though. So we're going to try to get torpedoes off. Maybe even if I don't get the torpedoes to hit, maybe I can scare him a little bit and make him stop firing at me for a little bit and make him try to avoid torpedoes for a little bit. But we don't have to worry about that. We wiped him out with torpedoes. Woohoo! Yeah, we got the Kraken. It is now a 2 versus 3. This is starting to look much, much, much better. Oh, but disaster strikes. Here's a full health cruiser. And, yeah, well, so close. Yet so far. Man. Ah. So I died. I died. That's true. That is true. But we still have a battleship. Can I not switch to the other ship? Come on. Why can I not switch targets? Okay, well, I guess I will switch to it. And this Carvor, he's not going to survive this. You know, if that Kotavosky was not there, I could have potentially done it. That Monocoli, why is our Carvor not firing at the Monocoli? I don't know. Like, this is the worst play he could be making. Sailing broadside to a bunch of ships, not shooting the cruiser that's on just basically no health. And it's a loss. Oh, heartbreak. See, that kind of battle, that could have been a win. That could have been so easy to be a win. So close. But it was not to be. I did the best that I could with the situation that I was given, and it just wasn't to be, which really is quite unfortunate. They had just 2 cruisers at the start of the battle, and both of the cruisers came back to haunt me because our battleships did not deal with them. And, you know, if you're playing this game, that's just one thing you really have to be aware of. Your impact in the battle isn't always based on how much damage you dealt. It's not always based on how many torpedo hits you got or spotting damage. What really matters is, did you play the role that your ship was meant to play? And in this case, if the battleships on my team played the role that they were supposed to, which is kill cruisers, if they had killed our 2 cruisers, then I could have done my job at the end of the battle and dealt with their battleships and their destroyers, because I was dealing with almost all their destroyers. I'm pretty sure I hit almost every single one of their destroyers. You know, I could have dealt with their destroyers, and once I dealt with their destroyers, I could have dealt with their battleships. So win rate is an indication of how often can you be useful to your team. You know, that's what sets apart the 50% from the 55%. That's what sets apart the 55s from the 60s. You know, how often can you be influential? And to be influential, you need to play your role that your ship was given. You have to do what your ship was designed to do. And the more often that you do that, the more wins that you'll get. Also, one thing to keep in mind is, you know, When you're bottom tier, it's much, much harder for you to carry your team. Is it possible? Yes. But your ability ability to do so is so much less. Just because you're relying on your skill rather than the power of your ship compared to others, right? And another factor is how much money have you spent on your ship? And I mean that in every single way. Have you spent money putting equipment modules on your ship? Have you spent money on purchasing a strong premium? Have you spent money on a special commander with special skills, with special this, special that, right? The more advantages you put on your ship, the easier it becomes to have an impact in the battle, right? So, for a free to play player, compared to someone that spends money in the game, the free to play player is already at a disadvantage. So, even if you have two identically skilled players playing the exact same ship for the same number of battles, the player who spent money is going to have a higher win rate than those that did not. I, that's just from personal experience. The more advantages you put on your ship, the better you're gonna, the the easier it is to have an impact in the battle, right? That's the whole idea of, like, in World of Tanks. Are you gonna play 1,000 battles in the Panzer II J? Okay, so then you're probably gonna get like a 70% win rate or higher. You know, does that mean you're a 70% player? No, it means you spent $100 on a tier 3 premium that's overpowered. You know? That's what I'm trying to get at. So, win rate is a generally good indicator of player skill. But because this is a free to play game, those who spent money are going to have an easier time doing stuff. See, if I had a special commander, I know there's like certain commanders out there like Yamamoto or something. If I had Yamamoto in this ship, obviously it's a British, so I don't think you can put it on there. But let's say I did, and I got that Kraken Unleashed, I would have gotten like a 50% emergency heal. With that 50% emergency heal, could I have won this battle? Probably not, because there was a full health cruiser and my battleship wasn't doing anything, right? But let's say I did. Let's say I had that guy. Maybe I could have survived against that cruiser long enough to get that heal going, right? Or put the smoke screen down, right? If I gave it enough time to put a smoke screen and force him to no longer be able to see me, I could disengage. And once I disengaged, maybe I could have gone after their battleship and got some torpedoes on them. And because their other cruiser was low health, I could have killed him. Once I had those two ships dead, maybe I could have gone around and gotten some caps, right? Obviously, it's a long shot. I don't think this battle could have been won. If my teammates had helped me, I think I could have turned this into a win. But I just didn't get the support that I needed to at the end of the battle. So anyway, enough rambling. I've been thinking long and hard about this sort of thing, so I kind of wanted to discuss it a little bit. Tell me what you think in the comments, because I'm kind of curious as well. But that's kind of my experience with World of Warplanes, World of Tanks, and World of Warships. And really, any online games kind of follows the same philosophy. So, win rate, I changed my opinion on it. When I was younger, win rate didn't matter because some battles were unwinnable. And that's true, but not all of them. So let's just quick go through the post-battle results. We've got 63,000 damage, not a lot, but we did support the team where it needed. And you can check the last page if you so desire. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.